You're watching E.T.N. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do the top 5 female characters in the MCU. And now that the Infinity Saga is over, we can go through all the movies and kind of look at all the strong female characters. Now, I do this because we obviously here on YouTube, you know, there's so many videos out there and so much content that's being put up on YouTube regarding SJWs. Myself, I have done it because, as you guys know, I'm not big on SJW stuff. I don't believe that, you know, women should be replacing men. Rather, I believe men and women should be working together. But with that said, to take a break from all the SJW, because I do believe that sometimes people kind of overextend what they believe is SJW and what they believe isn't. You know, I mean, they're entitled to their opinion. I just don't feel like sometimes it gets pushed so much. It's like I get tired of it from both ends. You know what I mean? Like I get tired of the SJW push, but I get tired of all the SJW videos kind of like polluting YouTube. So I wanted to take a minute and try to take a little bit more of a positive approach. And let's look at some of the MCU female characters that I think are just completely valuable in terms of their movie or their team, and who I think have earned that the role that they represent in the MCU. So here we go. Okay, at number 5, I have Nebula. Yes, Nebula. This is a character that we first met in Guardians of the Galaxy, and from that point forward, she had actually a very good development in terms of her character. From the beginning, she was evil. She wanted to kill her sister, or at least prove to her father Thanos that she was better. And then as things progressed, she started to turn around. She started to turn it around to the point where in Avengers, Infinity War, and going into Endgame, she's on the ship with Tony. She shows compassion. You know, just a really good development. I think it's something that a lot of people, with all the other things going on in the MCU, that a lot of people probably wouldn't acknowledge, but if you bring it up to them, if you point it out, they would say, hey, yeah, that's right, she really did. And I do think that for that reason, her character development and her character journey, to me, just puts her in the top 5. Okay, at number 4, I have Gamora. So we're not stepping too far away from Nebula. And Gamora, a very similar path, but I find a path that she went down a little bit quicker than her sister. When we first met Gamora, she was already in the back of her mind starting to, you know, make plans to overthrow or at least stop her father from, you know, pursuing his plans for the Infinity Stones and things of that nature. But then it goes further because she, in the middle of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and then going forward, she actually becomes very, very compassionate, very willing to help others without reward. And of course, she develops a very strong bond and relationship with Peter Quill, and a lot of compassion for her sister. One of the reasons that her sister did turn over to the good side, so to speak. So I think she's another character that has had a great development in the MCU, has had a very good relationship with her team, and now the journey is not exactly over, because now we got the old Gamora, and the Guardians are going to go out there and look for her and try and bring her home. So how will this turn out? So not only has her character arc been good up to this point, but it's not over, and that to me is very appealing. Okay, at number 3, Pepper Potts. Now, Pepper Potts has not had quite the amount of screen time that someone like Gamora or Nebula have had, but she has had an interesting arc from the moment we met her going forward. Once being an employee for Tony, then running the company, then having a relationship with Tony, and then breaking up with Tony, and then having a child, and then fighting by his side. This is a very subtle development, something we didn't see very often, but if you paid attention to each movie in the MCU over the last 10 years, you can see a progression of Pepper Potts from the very beginning to the very end, that while we may have wanted more of, I believe it's an end to that character that she deserved. I mean, when I saw her in the rescue armor, I was kind of psyched up because, you know, after all this time being with Tony, she has to understand some of what he does. She has to know how to work some of this tech. In fact, we saw her use some of it in Iron Man 3, although mostly with the help of Tony, of course. But it just, to me, it's something I would have liked to have seen more over the years, definitely. But because she's been there since the beginning and because she has made such progress as a character, and because of her impact on Tony as a character and what she means to him and what he means to her, I do think that she, even though it's been a very small role and a very subtle role, I do think that as subtle as it's been very impactful. And that's why I have her at number 3. Okay, at number 2, the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. Another character, we met her in Age of Ultron, and from that point forward, there's been nothing but growth. And when you look at Wanda Maximoff and some of the things she's been through, and you also see her character growth, not only in terms of her story, but even her powers. I mean, when we first met Wanda, she was very reluctant. You know, her powers, she was trying to mind trip people. And we get to Endgame, and she nearly kills Thanos, if not for Thanos dropping bombs on everybody just to escape her. This was also mentioned by word by the creators in the commentary of the movie on the DVD, where I believe, I don't know if it was Russo, I don't know which Russo it was, but they mentioned this is, they mentioned that she's she has the most powerful moment in the scene, and that Thanos cheats to get away from her because she could have killed him. And I believe that. In fact, even though I know Kevin Feige's already said Captain Marvel is the strongest hero in the MCU, believe me, she's not. Wanda Maximoff is one of the strongest mutants, I'm going to call her a mutant because that's what she is, in the comic book series. And they do kind of portray her power in the movies, not to the degree that it could be, but I think we might start seeing that going forward, because they're talking about her in her own show and how it's linking to Doctor Strange, and how we're going to find out why they call her the Scarlet Witch. In terms of the MCU, here's a character who lost her brother, who lost her love, and has still been able to maintain focus. Yes, she gets her vengeance on Thanos. Yes, she got her vengeance on Ultron, but she never lost herself. She's developed a great bond with Hawkeye, and she's learned how to move on. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing how much further she develops in her own show and what kind of role she's going to play in Doctor Strange, the sequel coming out in a couple of years. So I love the Scarlet Witch. She's always been one of my favorite characters in the comic book. One of my favorite female mutants, along with Storm. And that's why she's number 2. And finally, at number 1, you know who it is, Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. We met her in Iron Man 2, and from that point forward, she was one of the coolest females, badass, doesn't have superpowers, but can fight her ass off. And we've seen her by Cap's side. We've seen her with Tony. She's got a very strong relationship with Clint. She had a brief romance with the Hulk. I mean, this character has gone through so many different progressions, developments, and directions, and has had such an impact on many different characters in the MCU, most notably, in my opinion, Steve Rogers and Bruce Banner, that on top of that, still maintaining her ability to carry out a mission, and of course played by Scarlett Johansson, who has embraced the character from day one. I believe Black Widow is the best character, female character that is, in the MCU, bar none. She's earned it. She's been there since day one. She's made a sacrifice for the betterment of the universe. And I think she deserves that number 1 title. And I'm looking forward to seeing her prequel movie, I guess we can call it that, right? Coming out next year. So that's it. Those are my top 5 female characters in the MCU. Let me know what your top 5 are. I'm sure they're not the same as me, or they might be switched up a little differently. Let me know in the comment below who are your favorite 5 female characters in the MCU. And until the next video, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.